Best Bet time. I'm Scott, he's Bryan, he's Ralph, and we are Wager Talk, and welcome to our best bets for November 12th and 13th. And Bryan, we'll start with you. You're headed to the American Athletic Conference, a total involving Houston and Tulane, and that high-powered Cougar offense has scored a grand total of 47 points in the last 2 weeks combined. Bounce back here, or will we see more of the same, a lower than expected output?
Yeah, once all the talk started about the coach leaving, this team has not been the same, especially offensively. And you mentioned the last 2 weeks they've averaged 4.5 and 4.6 yards per play. Now they are coming off of a bye, but I don't think that's going to make much difference at this point. They know the coach is going, and they don't have anything to play for. This was a team at one point was ranked in the top 10 and was thinking about after they beat Oklahoma. Look at their schedule. I said, man, if we can get by Louisville, we're going to be terrific and go and play in the national championship type of format. Well, they're not going to be there now. The offense, as we pointed out, has not nearly played as well lately. And, you know, just like you were talking, explosive Houston offense is still in people's heads because they've seen them early in the season put up 60 points in these games. They're not the same anymore. And you take a look at Tulane. Tulane's one of those teams that I believe they played a triple overtime game and a double overtime game. So their numbers are inflated also. And if you take a look at Tulane on the season, their highest output is 5.8 yards per play in that game. They've got very good line play, and which is something that's going to put pressure on the Houston quarterbacks if they try to throw the football. And I like this Tulane team. And plus, you got a team playing the triple option. It's always better to play the under in these games. I bet it under 54. It's sitting at 51, but I still think it's going to go off at 49.5. I still think we have some value here.
You would down it all on Tom Herman, or do you just think it's the situation of all the distractions?
I think he's a great coach, and he's got other things on his mind at this point. He's looking for his future, and the players at this point know he's not going to come back no matter how good they do. So I think it's just one of those situations where you see this coming at the end of the season. A lot of teams will fail when it comes to the bowl games because they're losing their coach. I think it started early for them.
Yep. Ralph Michaels is going to be joining us on radio this Thursday night. SB Nation, Wager Talk is the name of the show, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. He'll be in studio with myself and with Matt Holt. Going to be great to have you in and breaking down some college basketball also, so letting everybody know to check out the show this week. It'll be archived at wagertalk.com. Ralph, you're headed to the SEC. The Florida Gators open a 14-point favorite over South Carolina. The number down to 11.5. Del Rio, the quarterback for the Gators, he's out. The team's kind of banged up. But again, Ralph, it seems to be all baked into that current number.
Well, you know what? You got Will Muschamp returning to the Swamp. You have South Carolina. Prior to their bye, they were 2-4, and they were averaging 14 points per game. They pulled a red shirt off Jake Bentley, starting a true freshman. And since that time, they've gone 3-0, averaging 30 points per game. So we have this rebirth of South Carolina coming into Florida off a disappointing loss to Arkansas with Luke Del Rio hurt. Well, I'm going to turn that around and look at South Carolina's three opponents. UMass is my number 104 defense. Missouri is my number 90 defense. Tennessee is the number 44 defense. So they've played three defenses subpar when comparing them to the SEC. Florida is my number 4 defense at home with a true freshman making his first road start, with a true freshman also their top running back coming into the Swamp. I think, heck, even Bryan could be quarterback for the Florida Gators, and they're going to score enough to cover this spread. I see a domination from Florida's defense to the South Carolina team, which is going to be overwhelmed, and we're getting a lot of value with their past 3 weeks and who they played.
A lot of thoughts coming in there about Bryan playing quarterback, but I'll just leave it at that. I wanted to mention my best bet. I'm going to stay in college also. I'm going to lay the points with Wyoming this week, laying about 7.5, 8. Over UNLV, and I'm going to make it real quick. We've been on Wyoming a few times over the last few weeks, including last week, and when that number dropped, I said I'm not taking the points, but I'm taking Wyoming and laying the 4.5. The reason that I like them in that spot, even though it looked like a classic letdown situation coming off the loss to Boise State, is all about the head coach, Craig Bohl, and his coaching staff. Craig Bohl won multiple national titles at North Dakota State. You don't worry about a guy like that letting his team have huge letdowns when he knows what it takes to win national titles. That's why I like Craig Bohl, and that number dropped from 7 all the way down to 4.5. I don't like UNLV, guys. I got to be honest, man. When Tony Sanchez was hired, I thought, this is good. Give him a shot. You're going to give this young, fiery high school coach a lot of motivation, a chance, a little bit something different from UNLV in a coaching hire. But I see a lot of what was going on under the last regime. Bobby Hauck, I see a lot of mistakes started to be made that we saw in year 2 and year 3 under Bobby Howcott. I'm seeing the same thing from Tony Sanchez. Wyoming's my best bet minus the points. Hey, your best bet, take $100 off any purchase of 30 days or more at wagertalk.com. Simply use the coupon BESTBET100. He's Ralph, he's Brian, I'm Scott. Marco D'Angelo back next week. We are wagertalk.com.